Hello fellow investors and welcome to Sylle Invest, where we bring knowledge to investing. Finding a good stock is hard, and today I'll talk about why quantum eMotion is my top pick for 2022. First of all, who are Quantum eMotion? They are an advanced developer of QRNG, Quantum Random Number Generator, solutions. They have patented technology that offer true random numbers. The technology is small, fast, easy to integrate, reliable in all types of conditions, cost-effective compared to competitors, and it has low energy consumption. So the summary of this video is going to be, well, these points. We're going to start with random number generators, heading over to why true randomness is important. We're going to talk about the technology, the QRNG2, talk about the products, the competing technologies, the patents, the patent portfolio valuation, a buyout scenario, my catalyst list, my top pick highlights, and also the risks that I have identified. So we're gonna start with random number generators. So there are three types: there's pseudo randomness, classical randomness, and quantum randomness. So the pseudo randomness, it's random numbers generated by an algorithm that mimics randomness. It is fast, but it is predictable. Classic randomness, it's an analog signal with complex behavior that obeys classical mechanisms or mechanics. It can be fast and it seems random, but it is deterministic. Quantum randomness, on the other hand, it is random by nature and is the only solution to true randomness. Why true randomness is important. So encryptation, they use random numbers. And these random numbers, they are either predictable or deterministic, which makes them crackable. So once an encryptation is cracked, it's useless. True random numbers, on the other hand, they can't be cracked, and they are neither predictable or deterministic. But is this really a problem? Well, not today. But it is very likely that it will be in the future. And here is why. So quantum computers, they have the potential to solve highly complex problems. And if we look at the RSA 2048 encryption, it would take a classical supercomputer 300 trillion years to crack it. That's a lot. But it would take a formidable quantum computer a few hours to crack it. So then you might ask yourself, when will these formidable quantum computers become available? It's hard to say. Some say 5, some say 10, and some say more. It depends on how fast research progress and if there are any breakthroughs along the way. But one thing is for sure, the field is progressing fast, and once the computers become available, no encryptation that use predictable or deterministic random numbers are safe. So let's talk about the technology, the QRNG2, the what, the how, and the why. So the what. QRNG2 is a cutting-edge QRNG based on electron quantum tunneling, a purely quantum effect that guarantees complete randomness. Okay, that sounds nice, but how does this work? And I've tried to simplify this. This science is very, very hard. I've tried to make it so anyone can understand it, so it's a little, if someone is an expert in this field, they will probably laugh at this, but this is basically how it works. So in quantum mechanics, at the subatomic level, the electron exists as a wave, where the wave represents a range of probabilities related to the location of the electron. So the electron tunnels through an energy barrier, and these tunneled charges, they generate a low-level random electrical noise, which is amplified and associated to a random number. This is a truly random quantum process, exempt from any deterministic element. True randomness. That can't be cracked. So why is this technology good? Well, it has a lot of advantages. So as we saw in the beginning, it had so many things. So we start with small. So it's less than 20 times 20 microns. It's fast. It has a demonstrated speed of above 1 gigabit per second per device. It's easy to integrate into existing electronics. It's reliable in all types of conditions, like noisy environments and between like minus 50 and plus 85 degrees, etc. It's cost effective. And it was said with conversations with the CEO that at scale production costs would be like $10 to $20 per unit, and competitors' products, they cost between like $990 and $3,400. And they don't have these advantages. They're bigger and they're slower and they're, worse in many aspects and much, much more expensive. It also has very low energy consumption, less than 1 milliwatt. And the randomness has been certified by NIST and Die-Hard Test. So it is certified that it works. We're going to talk later on about certification, but then we're talking about certification about products. This is certification about if it's truly random. They have a prototype for that. So anyways, let's go through the products. It's like 3 pages of this. So we have the operational prototype, we have the portable QRNG2, the ultra portable QRNG2, and the PCIe QRNG2. Here's the operational prototype. So they have successfully produced an operational prototype that can achieve 300 megabits per second of random bits, which with only the digital component limiting the throughput. So when we talked about the certification earlier, I would say it should be, it was quite unclear, but I would say it's the randomness of this prototype. So it's good to know that it works, and it's also very fast. And here's another product. The application for this one will be business-to-business development platform and also the foundation device for testing and certification. This is basically a testing device. It's going to be the company's first device where they're going to give this product to partners, etc., or interesting parties to let them play with it, let them have it, to see if how they can integrate it and if they want it. So this is going to be like the stepping stone, like the first step towards greater things. The market is $100 million, and the availability, well, according to their last corporate update, it should be available already this quarter. And another note here is that the other products, they have the same architecture as this device. So if this device works, basically all other devices will work as well. They build on the same thing. The next product is going to be the ultra portable QRNG2. And the applications here is going to be consumer internet communication with a market of above $10 billion, and it's going to become available in the second quarter of 2022. Yeah, that's it about that. And let's look at the PCIe QRNG2. The applications here will be data center, blockchain, and VPN. And there's no announcement of they don't know the market for this product, and they hope to have it available somewhere in 2022. They said potentially in their slides, which means they're striving for it, but there's no guarantee. Like they say, it's going to happen. And obviously the PCIe one is going to be more powerful and much more faster than the other ones. So moving on, we have a specific type of product. It was actually their beginning product, the things they wanted to do at the very start. It's the CMOS QRNG2. And the application here is going to be security consumer products with a market of above $50 billion. Looking at the availability, well, they're going to have a proof of concept by around June 2022. And that is going to decide the future of this product. Like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? The CEO seems very confident that it is going to work, and there is a lot of potential to where this can be implemented. And yeah, the note 1 there, they plan to reach market Q2 2023, a little more than a year from now, but that depends on if the proof of concept is going to be successful or not. And this product will allow Quantum eMotion to target mobile, 5G, and specific IoT application. It's very small and very really integratable. And then we have some other products. We have the Quantum blockchain application and the Quantum VPN application. It's something new they're trying to do. They're going to try to develop applications and sell those together with their products. And looking at the Quantum blockchain application, well, the applications here is crypto wallets, smart contracts, NTFs, and Quantum cryptocurrency. The market is expected to reach $67.4 billion by 2026 and has a 68.4% CAGR, as I will call it, compounding annual growth rate. So it's growing very fast, like very fast. We don't know when this application is going to become available. I think it's something they're going to clarify later this year as we proceed through it. And yeah, the first note there is that the QNC or Quantum they're looking at 3 partnering projects in blockchain. And the QNC solution, the technology, they decrease the energy consumption of blockchain by more than 99% while still enhancing the security of the system. This is pretty huge, and I think this is the core of their 3 partnering projects and why they want to work with Quantum eMotion on this. Looking at the VPN, it's the applications is business to business high security VPN, business to consumer normal VPN, and also military security. The market is estimated to be 60 billion by 2027 with a CAGR of 17.2%. And the same here, availability unknown, something I expect to hear more about in 2022, even though it would seem that the blockchain application is more in focus, like more close in time. Then let's look at competing technologies. Down here we have, well, these are random number generator companies, but in the orange box we have the quantum ones. There are 4 other companies that we can see there. They use photons to do their quantum random number generators. That's also true randomness because it's quantum. But we can see some differences here, like different countries and speeds. So if you look at the price of the other quantum solutions, it's ranging from $990 to $3,400. And their speed is so inferior the potential of Quantum eMotion. I mean, they have demonstrated a speed of above 1 gigabit per second. I don't know where the 8 is coming from. Perhaps that's their theoretical max, I do not know. But either way, the demonstrated speed is so superior to their competitors. And through conversations with the CEO, at scale, the cost per unit are not expected to exceed $10 to $20. That's thinking that's very cheap. So if like non-scale costs per unit is $50 and they sell their product at $1,000, I mean, with their speed and their size and reliability, they should sell at like higher than these people. But let's assume they go the lowest and sell for $1,000. That would mean a gross margin of 95%. And communication with the CEO, he also expressed that they expect gross margins way above 90%. Let's slide into patents. So there are 3 patent families, the first, the second, and the third. The first one is, well, the use of a monitored flow of electrons across a quantum tunneling barrier as a quantum random signal source, which is then used to produce random numbers. Basically, their technology for producing random numbers, to make it very simple. The patent has been granted in many countries. It's still pending in 6. But it is granted in the US and also in Canada, which is the most important ones. Moving on to the second patent family, it covers it eliminates non-quantum noise from the quantum signal and therefore allows ensuring that the random numbers are purely random and entirely based on quantum processes. It is basically a way to make sure that you measure the randomness like the quantum randomness in a pure random way. It's also been accepted in many countries, but it's still pending in 7. It is granted in the US, not in Canada as of yet. And both the first and the second patent, I think, has gone a long way in Europe as well. Not in all the countries, but in many of them. Looking at the third patent, then we have a minimalistic chip which utilizes the computer's hardware to both power an on-chip quantum entropy source and turn the resulting entropy signal into a random number of quantum origin on the go. I really do not know how to explain this in an easy way. You have the text there, make your own conclusion. At least the CEO was very excited about this patent. And I mean, he knows that shit better than me. So sure as hell might be so. The patent is very new. It was filed, I think it was in October 2021, so the patent is still pending worldwide. And now looking at the patent portfolio valuation. So there was actually a patent portfolio valuation performed by Inside Quantum Technology, IQT, an independent third-party specialized research firm. So IQT, they used a Monte Carlo valuation calculation based on technical information and that was provided by QNC. And also, if QNC can complete its development plan successfully and the market adopts the QNC technology, it was estimated that the patent portfolio could be worth, well, the mean value is the thing that matters the most. It's like $2.5 billion. And then we have the 95% lower value at 1.58 and the higher of the upper 95% value of 3.435. Now this might look a little strange, so I'm gonna simplify by doing this. So this is usually how it looks when you do these 95% predictions. On the left, you have the 1.58 billion, which is like the lower end. And in the center, which is like the most likely outcome, it's going to be $2.5 billion. And to the right, the higher end, 3.435. And I want to emphasize the bold text because people, they take this and they go out on the forums and say, hey, their patents, they're worth $2.5 billion. Why is it only like worth 22 million US dollars right now? It is so strange. There is a reason for that, and that is the bold text, because it's based on information provided by the company, and it also assumes that the company completes its development plan successful and that the market adopts the technology. So if the plan goes well and the market likes it and adopts it, yes, these patents are gonna be worth a lot of money, way more than 22 million US dollars. But I just want to clarify that this is like a valuation based on ifs. It's not a truth, it's a can be. But moving on, I also want to say that the third patent family is not included in this valuation, so that will improve it even more. Then, as I mentioned, Quantum eMotion has a market cap of well, in Canadian standard, 27.5 million, but in US dollars, it's like 22 million fully diluted. That's like less than 100th of the mean value if this technology is adopted. So the value, the portfolio valuation is like, has huge potential. So moving on, I'm going to talk about the buyout scenario. So the company has aimed for a buyout in the past and probably still is. So from the corporate update Q&A, which was held the 18th of November, they got a question there, or the CEO got a question that was, is your real target to develop a company and create revenue or sell the company? And the answer was, the best way to sell the company at a higher price is not wanting to be sold. If you put yourself for sale, you will never really get an interesting price. My intent is to build the company by building products and applications that have a lot of potential. And I'm sure that if we do that, at some point there will be an offer we cannot refuse. And this is a big indicator that they are definitely still looking to get bought out. And I see that as an opportunity. Let's take the other question. So what would you determine an offer you cannot refuse to be? Another question that was asked in the Q&A. The answer was certainly way more than it is today, the price of the company, that is. And the share price at this time closed at 26.5 cents. And as of today, when I make this movie, it's 19 cents. So you consider it to be quite cheap then, and I would say it's quite cheap now. Let's move into the catalyst list. So it's a lot of things happening, and this is going to be an exciting 2022. So let's just get on with it. So the first catalyst is the third-party product certification of the portable QRNG. This is bolded, this has an underscore, this has an exclamation mark. And this is because it's the most important catalyst of them all. Let me explain. This is one of those catalysts that I would call make it or break it. or like succeed or fail, to be like simple. So because the portable QRNG2, as I showed you before, it has the same architecture as all of their coming products. If this product gets a product certification that shows that it does what it says it does, it will be super easy to get certification on all the other products, since it's basically the same but in different formats. So, and also the same goes for if this thing does not happen, then if this does not work, then none of their products is going to work. This is the risk reward factor that I think about the most when I look at this company, because there is no company with no risk. So this is like my number one risk. So if this does not work, like my top pick is gonna go down the drain and it's gonna go really bad. I want you to be aware of this. But at the same time, if this certification goes through, I would say the upside is enormous. Like enormous. I don't like throwing out numbers usually, but considering where the stock has been and the potential and how cheap it is right now, like more than 100% plus if this goes through, like in the end at the very least. I think this company is very, very undervaluated. But if this does not go through, then it's overvaluated and it's gonna go down the drain. So keep an eye out for this. The CEO is very confident that this is going to go through. And I think he's correct. I mean, they have this functional prototype and that one has been certified to produce random numbers. They're gonna have this portable QRNG to get it certified also by NIST that it also produces random numbers. I don't know how big of a difference it is between these products. I would say it's a very good chance that this will happen. And I will come to and another point. It's going to be a big point, but the reason also why I believe this is going to happen is because the CEO, he did exercise warrants worth $300,000 just before they expired. The expiring price was 15. The exercise price was 15 cents, and the stock closed at 16.5 cents. So he exercised and basically paid $300,000 because he believed in the company and that it is undervalued from where they are today. If this point was a problem, I do not think he would exercise warrants worth $300,000 from his own pocket. That's why I believe this is going to work fine. But I just want you to know that if it does not, well, shit is on you. Only spend what you can't afford and what you can afford to lose. Moving on. Q1 2022 portable QRNG2 availability. This cannot happen without the certification. So as soon as the certification is out there, this product is basically going to become available. This is very important because they have partners that are ready to play with their tool. The only thing they're missing is like they can't give it to them and let them play with it without the certification. And this is going to be the thing that gives them deals, partnerships, etc., etc. So Q1 is going to be very interesting. If these two end up going through, these prices are like cheap, like super bargain cheap. Yeah, so it's like I said, risk reward scenario, and I believe the upside is well worth the risk. But everyone makes your own, you make your own decision, and I make mine. In April 2022, we're going to have the fiscal year end financials. We're going to see the cash really increase because the warrants that expired this January, a lot of them were exercised earlier, and it's gonna show a healthy stash. And in May 2022, we're going to have the Q1 financials, which is going to cover all of the warrants, and we're going to see an even healthier cash, or like a stash of money. So these are like not super important, but it's nice to see the people who are like all into numbers. It's good for them to see that they have the cash. In Q2 2022, the ultra portable QRNG is supposed to become available. I think this is a good milestone, a very big milestone, and we'll see how they achieve that. In June 2022, the CMOS QRNG proof of concept is supposed to be done, which will determine the future of the entire product. This is, if I can say it myself, one of their most important products. If this proof of concept comes out good, I would say this has more potential than all of the other things together. The other things, they have huge potential, and I would say if they work, way more worth than 22 million US dollars. But this one, if it goes through, it can be integrated into everything. So this is also one of the very big things to look out for. Also in 2022, they have claimed that they want to raise up to 10 million through a private placement for merger and acquisition. A lot of things going on here. So they have already between 4 to 5 million US dollars. So they won't have to raise 10 million, but they will basically have to raise like 5 or 6 or up to $5 or $6 million to reach this. And it's just so they can do a merger and acquisition. And they say they want to, if they do a merger and acquisition, it should be a company closely related to them. And it's also a way for them to acquire talented engineers, which is quite hard these days. And this private placement from people who would talk to the CEO, those levels should be around 50 cents. That makes sense considering the CEO believes his stock should be worth more than $1. So he would not, I don't think he's the person who want to dilute at this level we have right now. In 2022, the PCIe QRNG2 availability might potentially happen. They actually said potential release in 2022. So take this with a grain of salt. If it happens, amazing. If it doesn't, well, you know, they didn't promise anything. So the announcement of partnering projects in blockchain, they have 3 projects they're working and want to release soon. When this happens, I don't know. When it happens, that's nice. If it happens. Announcement of the first deal or product sale. There was a question in the Q&A of the corporate update when they asked this, and he said, you know, he laughed a little, said, you know, I know when this is going to happen, but, you know, I can't tell you because obviously, you know, information he cannot enclose or disclose. As we saw earlier, there were a lot of patents that needs approval. I'm sure they will come, but I'm very unsure when that will happen, but I look forward to when it does. Then we also have the buyout of the company. It's a question mark because it might not happen. It might happen. They seem interested in it. And I personally believe it will happen. Does not mean it will happen this year, but it's something I'm holding until that happens. And if it doesn't happen, then, you know, we'll see in the future. But that's something that we might, you know, be aware that it might happen. And it's going to be my top pick highlights of why I think this is a great pick for 2022. They have a strong cash position. They have around 4 million Canadian dollars, depending on how many warrants were exercised. And they have a cash burn rate of around 500,000 Canadian dollars per quarter. This gives them a cash runway to 2024. Basically, they can continue operating as they do now for 2 more years without having to do a private placement or any financing. I would say that's a strong position to be in. And it's a high commitment from the CEO. Francis Belindo, he exercised, like I mentioned, 2 million warrants at 15 Canadian cents for a total of $300,000 when the stock price was at 16.5. It's very close, and that shows a high conviction. I mean, if he would have exercised those and the stock price was like $1, then, you know, it would mean nothing. But this, I would say, speak tons. And also, another highlight is the low share price due to warrants expiring recently. Plus, the sell pressure is now gone because there are no more warrants left. So, 40 million warrants expired on the 15th of January, 2022, which means like this Friday, which was just now. And they only had like 110 million shares out there, or 100 million. So this is a lot of warrants. It's like, I think it's about 50-60 average volume, like so much. So this forces the price down, and it most likely forced the price down. It was like at 47 cents or something, and now it's down to 15, or actually today it's 19. It had a really big run this Friday because people are waiting. They have waited for these warrants to expire. Now they have, and the selling pressure should be gone. And let's also note that there are no warrants left, like literally not a single warrant left in the company. So the sell pressure should be gone for now, at least until, you know, the future private placement. Then we'll have more warrants, but until then, not a single one. and also low valuation compared to the milestones achieved to date. And why do I say this? Well, they have a market cap fully diluted at around 27.5 million Canadian, which is, considering where they are and the product lineup and the catalyst list and the valuation of the, which I would say that's quite cheap. And the CEO himself, he has an MBA with a concentration in finance, and he also managed a 300 million Canadian investment fund. And he believes that the stock should be above $1 Canadian based on what they have achieved. And this is what he said in November. Like, if they achieve more things, this value should of course naturally increase. And let's also note, this is the word of a CEO. One should always take the words of a CEO with not just a grain of salt, but like a ton of salt, and just try to just realize that it might be a lot of fluff. But since the valuation is what he does, this is what he do. This is his speciality. So if he says this, it means more to me than some random CEO saying that, yeah, we should trade at 5 times these levels. So yeah, take it for what it is, but I still believe it carries some weight. And as I mentioned, they also have a strong IP position that got a high third-party valuation of potentially $2.5 billion if the market, if they execute and the market also adopts the QRNG2 solution. They have a strong material pipeline for 2022. They are a strong candidate for a potential buyout once tech is proven. I mean, they do basically one thing. I would say that's the great thing. If you want to be bought out, do one thing very good. And that's what they do. They do QRNG very well, and they have the patents to support it. Now they just need to execute and show the world that this is not just talk. This is something we actually do. And then I think a buyout offer is going to appear. And they are also the only publicly traded pure play QRNG stock in the world. If you want to trade anything QRNG right now, this is the only option you have. And let's talk about risks. Let's wrap things up. I know this is a long video. I have a lot of things to cover, and I'm really passionate about this company, I have to say. But let's go with the risks. So firstly, there's no guarantee that projects under R&D will be successful. And there's no guarantee that successful R&D will result in deals and or partnerships. There's no guarantee that the company will secure the currently pending patents. Let's say that all the patents get, they have already been accepted in the major places. So the odds of them not being accepted is very low, but there is still a risk that they might not. And if that happens, well, that's a big problem. So yeah, we'll see. Once the patents get accepted, this will be removed from the risk statement, but until then, it's going to stay here. And this is the one I mentioned before, the biggest risk of them all. There's no guarantee that the portable QRNG2 gets third-party certification. If it does not, well, we're all in the shits, to say the least. If it does, then we're all in the goods. Yeah, as I always say, don't spend money you can't afford to lose. I don't see this as a big risk, but it's a risk that could destroy much of what they do. So therefore, it's a very important risk to have. There's no guarantee that their products will reach commercialization. They intend to reach limited commercialization this year, but it does not mean they will. And there's no guarantee that they get financing until they reach profitability or a buyout. Any company can go bankrupt. Supply chain issues may cause delays. It has so far, and it can continue to do so. And Corona may of course cause any sort of delays along any path, as we all know. And that is it for today. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you do, please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to support my work, you can become a Patreon or donate to this channel. And as a final disclaimer, I want to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor. I own shares of this company. You should do your own due diligence and only spend what you can afford to lose. Thank you for today, and thank you for watching, and have a good one.